Okay, so welcome to the lighting video, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can create this wipe to the image. As you can see, this is very dramatic compared to this, so this is kind of blank. So we're going to create some lighting with exposures and curves and etc. Things like that. Okay, so before we do that, we just make let's put everything to their own like folders. It's important to keep everything in order here, because it's easier to like fix things when you know where the layers are. Because if everything is like messed up here, it's very hard to stay in track of things. So let's put this to group like this, and let's name it boat. And here, this is the boat reflection, so we put that here. And then let's move it below. Okay, so now we have our boat here, and then we have our gate, and let's put the reflection of the gate here. And we can move these below everything because they are not visible. These are just backups for everything. And then we put this in folder and name this gate. And then we can make one new folder for this background image and name it background. Okay, so now we have everything in order, and then we can start making the lights. So let's make a new folder and name it lighting. Okay, and the first thing we're going to do here, we're going to add curves. So just click curves here, or from the layer, new adjustment, layer, and then curves. Okay, and we are going to make this effect to the whole image, so we leave this layer mask untouched. And we're going to create a contrast curve here, and I will show you how to do that. So remember, the left bottom bar is blacks. As you can see, if I move it here, all of the shadows will be darker, and if I move the blacks up, all of the blacks will open and become brighter. And here highlights, if I bring this down, it will take highlights off, and if I put this here to the left, it will brighten up the highlights. Okay, and then here is the midtones, and when I put a point here and bring down, then it's like putting the effect on the whole image. Okay, so if you want to drag these points out, you just grab them and then move them outside of this so you can get them off. Okay, so what we're going to do here, we're going to bring up the blacks first. So let's grab this here and grab it up a bit. Okay, then we go to the middle and we grab this and take it down a bit like this. And then we're going to grab the highlights here and increase the highlights a bit like this. And then this is a little bit too much, the blacks, so we take it down a bit. Okay, so 19 here, the output, if you want to follow the numbers. And then I'm going to make a slight adjustment here, so I will make an S looking thing. So that's great in my opinion. Okay, so the effect is a little bit too strong, so we take the fill out a bit. Okay, so something like 80 looks good. And now you can see the difference is pretty huge. And I do this because it blends everything together well. Like, as you can see, this is kind of blank, and when we click this on, it will like add this effect there that everything that just blends together better. Maybe we take the midtones up a bit, and then this down just a hint. Okay, that's perfect. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make some depth of field to the image. So now there isn't any like vignetting going on, so we're going to make a little vignette here. So we take exposure here, exposure, or here layer, new adjustment layer, and then exposure, okay? And now we're going to use this layer mask. So if we want black here, a little bit of depth of field here, then we just take the black color and we put the flow to 100% and opacity to 100%, and then we're just going to brush with black to the places where we don't want the effect to be on. So black removes and white rebuilds. So now I don't want any darkness to the sky, so I brush the sky off, and then I don't want any darkness to the middle of the image also, so I'm going to brush this too. And now, as you can see, this white part is the part where it's going to be visible. So now we take the exposure down a bit to -1.5, looks great. And then we're just going to refine this a bit, like this. And now we have a little darkness at the bottom, as you can see. Then the next thing we're going to do, we're going to make some lightness to the middle of this image. So we take again the exposure, and now what we want to do, we want to fill the layer mask with black. So now if we do this, it won't show us anything, and we want some lighting over here in the middle. So we're going to take the brush, and now we're going to paint white to the middle of the image, and we want to take the flow down a bit so it won't be so strong. So let's take it down to 80, and then we're just going to paint once white here. Maybe click 2 times. Okay, as you can see, now we have here this white part and the blacks here, and now we just increase the exposure a bit. Okay, so like this to 0.55, and now we have this lightness here in the front of the image. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to add a bit of lighting coming from the clouds. So we make a new layer, and now we're going to use these blending modes. So if I if I brush white here now, it will just make two like white brush parts here, and it doesn't look great. So what we're going to use, we're going to take here and put it to overlay, and as you can see now it blends in very well, but this is of course really strong, so we're going to take the fill out, maybe to 20%, and now we have this little bit of light coming from the clouds more, as you can see. And then I just can move it a bit to right, and now it's in its place. And the next thing we're going to do, we're going to brush some shadows in. So we need to put some shadows here, here, and then here on the boat. So let's create a new layer, and then press X for changing the color here, and then put the flow to 3 or 5. I think 4 is fine. And now we're going to zoom in, and what we're going to do here, we are going to brush black here, just brush black here. So we're going to make the beginning of the reflection a little bit darker, since that's how it's in real life also. So just brush some black here. It isn't really like that precise where you're going to put it, but just brush some of the black here, and then maybe one stroke there too. And then we're going to brush black, do the boat, and do the boat's reflection here. with the same flow, and this just like makes the whole image look more realistic. Okay, so now we have our blacks here, here and there, and maybe we push some black to the top of the gate too. Maybe here and here. And now we're just going to take the fill out a bit to 75. Okay, and now we have our shadows done. And okay, so one last thing we're going to add here is fog, and I have downloaded custom brushes from a site called brushyeezy.com, and I will do a bonus video on how to download custom brushes, so you don't have to go to a different tutorial for that. So yeah, just make a new layer, then I go here and click this icon here, and then I choose the brushes that I have downloaded. Just watch the bonus video and you will learn how you can get these custom brushes here. And I'm using this one for the fog, and I take white and flow to 6%, and then I just click here with different sizes, and I will create some fog to the image. Maybe that was a little bit too much. Also to the far, these small fog things. And yeah, that's our fog. But the problem with these brushes are, if I put the flow to 100 and show you, it creates these strong outlines, so you have to erase them out. So just take the eraser and then erase the strong outlines off, like this, and then we can maybe move the whole fog a little bit down, and that's perfect in my opinion. And now we are done with our lighting, and as you can see the difference is huge, and in my pictures this lighting thing that I do makes the most like the dramatic feel to my images. Everything blends in well when you have done this, and for every image I have somewhat similar lighting like adjustments, so you can use all of these like the fog and exposure and curves with different images too if you want. So that's our lighting, and then in the next video we are going to do the coloring. And yeah, we are not going to do exact same colors as we have here, because I think this is a little bit too cyan, so we are going to make the colors a bit more like bluish. Okay, so now we have our image almost ready, and we'll see you in the next video with coloring.